I read 18 books this past month, and whether that's concerning or an accomplishment, I don't know, because it does mean I have no social life and I spend most of my time reading cringy romance books. Today we will be talking about all 18 of the books that I read this month. Hi, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm happy you're here. I'm Caitlin and I talk about books and I freak out about books. And if you like talking and freaking out about books as well, subscribe to the channel. It is completely free, no hidden fees. And without further ado, let's talk about all the books I read in July. Now, at the end of last month, June, I was on this dark Western romance kick, and it kind of continued into the beginning of July as well. And that's why the first book I read in July was Cruelest Contract by Cora Brent. Now this is a dark Western romance. We start out the book with this wedding, and the wedding gets attacked by some rival mafia family. And our female main character is like, what, 10 years old, and she gets saved from this madness by one of the oldest, well, not one of the oldest, the oldest Tempesta brother, our male main character. And she kind of always had a crush on him, always kind of revered him. He's this silent, broody, stoic type. And then her whole family money situation kind of collapses because her whole family's dead, babe. Her whole family's dead, and so she kind of separates herself from the mafia world. That is until her brother arranges a marriage to the Tempesta family. So she kind of gets plucked from her home, set on a plane, and there she goes on her way to marry one of the brothers, and she gets to pick which, but we all kind of know which one she's gonna pick. It's obviously the one who saves her life. So this book is kind of a story about them falling in love, them being married. What I did like is that this was very unlike any arranged mafia marriage romance I have ever read. It's not as if we immediately get into the marriage of it all, and they kind of get to know each other and they kind of spend some time. It was also very atmospheric, and it really felt like we were on a farm, on a ranch. And of course, with any mafia romance, there are some murder and some other shenanigans, but it was really good, and I think I rated it 3 stars. Not a bad start to the month. The next book I read is kind of a bit different. This is more of an October book. I don't know why I picked it up in July, and I am talking about Game of Cat and Witch by Ruby Rune. Now, the only way I can feel to describe this is kind of cat noir fanfiction. So we are in this school setting, and our female main character is a witch. Yay, witch! And she kind of has a problem. She can't summon a familiar, and if you don't know what a familiar is, that's kind of like a little fuzzy animal companion that witches have. And in this world, these familiars help the witches with power, and she can't summon one. She doesn't have one. So she decides to perform a dark ritual to summon a familiar, and she kind of accidentally summons Felix. And Felix is not no ordinary cat, he's a shifter. And in this world, witches kill and hunt shifters, and shifters kill and hunt witches. So you see the dilemma. So he kind of has to pretend to be her familiar until she figures out how to send him back and break the bond that's between them. Because a witch and their familiar has this like bond between them, and it makes them want to fall in love and be best friends. So it was really fun. It was very different. I haven't read anything like this before. I gave it 3 stars. It was fun. It was like a short little book, a great palate cleanser, and probably a great spooky season read. The next book I read in July is one of my favorite books of the month, which is Death Valley by Karina Halley. Guys, this was incredible. I have mentioned this book on my channel before. Like, I couldn't stop talking. I just wanted to talk about the book. I set it down because it was just so incredible. I have read Karina Halley books before and this was no different. This was really good. Death Valley is also a dark Western romance. I was like, let's deviate a bit. And I'm like, okay, no, let's go back. So this is a dark Western romance as well. Our female main character's sister has been missing for like 4 years. She went on a hunting trip with her boyfriend and she never came back. Obviously there was some investigation, but nothing turned up, and the police, the FBI, no one could find her. So she, our female main character, Audrey, is like, you know what, fuck this, I can't do this. She herself is an FBI agent and she's been really slacking on her work, and her boss and her colleagues are like, girl, you need to move on from this because you feel like you're stuck. And she's like, what do you mean I can't move on from this? I don't know where my sister is. I don't know where her body is. So she goes to the town of the mountains where she goes, and she kind of enlists this ranger. What was his name? Jensen or something. I think his name was Jensen. She's like, hey Jensen, can you kind of help me find my sister? I'll pay you a lot of money. And he's hurting for cash, even though he knows the mountain is very dangerous and very treacherous. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you. So that's basically the whole point of the book, is them going to find her sister or her sister's body, because there's no way in 4 years the bitch ain't dead. But the thing is about this mountain, you see, is there's kind of this teeny little thing. It's not that bad, and it's kind of being ran by like flesh-eating zombies. And they're kind of very scary, so no big deal. It's not like if they hunger for human flesh. They actually do hunger for human flesh. So this was really interesting. This was the first horror romance book I have ever read, and that's what it's marketed as a horror romance book. And like I said in like my dark romance video, this book really made me feel like I was watching a horror film. I was on the edge of my seat and I was kind of screaming at the characters for being dumb. Like, there was a point in the book where they were like, you guys, situation is kind of dire. Most of us have already died. Maybe let's just go home and forget about this whole thing. And I was like, yes, listen to voice of reason. Did they listen? No. They continued towards the flesh-eating zombie beings. So I was really upset about that. And I really enjoyed this book. I rated it 5 stars, if you couldn't tell by how much I love this book. I rated 5 stars and I think you should read it. The next book, or books should I say, I read was the Dracula Duet by Karina Halley as well. So after I picked up Death Valley, I kind of was like, I need more Karina Halley books. I need to read more Karina Halley books. I'm obsessed. So I picked up the Dracula Duet. The first book in the series is called Blood Orange, and then we have Black Rose, and this was just as incredible. I think I talked about these books in my dark romance video as well, which you can watch here. So this duet is so good. I rated it 5 stars as well. Both books 5 stars. Black Orange and Black Rose follows Bram Stoker's inspiration, and his name is Voltu. So Bram Stoker wrote Dracula based on this character we have, whose name is Voltu. And then we have Dracula's destined lover, who keeps dying and then reincarnating as someone else. And that's where we start. Like, we read about this character in one of Karina Halley's other series, also filled with vampires and shenanigans. So in the book, our reincarnated lover is called Dahlia, and she is a witch, and she is sent to kill Dracula. she doesn't know she is his reincarnated destined lover. Destiny is kind of to fall in love with Dracula and then die. Fun. So she is sent to kill him as a witch, but she uses a glamour. So she doesn't know she's his reincarnated lover, and he doesn't know either. And it is really fun. And the second book in the series is just as good. Sometimes it weans a little. Sometimes with duets, it's like the first book is amazing. How do you achieve that with the second book? And Karina Hadley did that. It was incredible and perfect. Perfect. Like I said, I rated this duet 5 stars. It's incredible. If you're looking for something gothic, vampire, steamy, incredible. After that, I was still in this dark gothic mood. Thank you, Dracula would do that to you. Dracula will unfortunately do that to you. That's why I picked up Nocticadia by Kerry Lake. Now, this was just as good. I also rated this 5 stars, and I think this is very popular. This is a popular book, so you might have read it before. If you didn't, this book follows our female main character, and her mother is dead. Her mother died, and her mother died in a very strange way. She kind of described her death as black worms falling out of her mouth, and everyone's looking like, bitch, you crazy. You're so crazy. There's nothing in like current medical knowledge that we can explain that, and that's kind of dumb. That's kind of dumb. We think you're kind of insane. We think you're kind of kooky. But she is in school. I think she's in school to be like a biologist or something like that. Something to do with the sciences. And one of her assignments was to write a paper about this fictional disease or sickness, and you have to explain how it works, how it infests, how the disease spreads, all that kind of stuff. And she writes obviously about the thing that killed her mum, and then she gets called in by a university, and they're like, so there's this kind of school, and they read your paper, and yeah, so you aren't crazy, because they are kind of studying this parasite and they really want you to attend. And she's like, bitch, I fucking knew it. So she goes to the school, meets this hot professor that is busy studying these parasites and what they do and what they could do for the human race in bettering this chronic illness that he has. So he's kind of like on the DL stirring shit up, and she obviously wants to be involved with whatever this professor's doing because her mother died from this parasite, and everyone has been telling her she's kind of insane, so she kind of really needs to know what the fuck is going on. So surprise, there's some bonding and bit of inappropriate student professor things going on between them, and it was very dark, very spooky, very gothic. If you're looking for a book like that, this is the book to read. It was really good, and I rated it 5 stars as well. Guys, we are hitting 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, one after the other. The next book I read was Accomplice to the Villain. Now, I read this in a reading vlog. I'll link it up here if you want to go watch that. This is the 3rd book in the Assistant to the Villain series. I rated both those books, the first one and the second one, 5 stars, and this one was no different. This was really good. If you don't know what this series is about, I always rave about it because no one's talking enough about it for my liking. Assistant to the Villain is about our female main character Evie and our male main character Tristan. And Tristan is kind of the kingdom's villain. So he is up to mischievous things and she is his assistant. There's obviously a bunch of other stuff that's going on. There's a talking frog. There's a lot of... It feels like it is very funny. The way I would describe this as is like the medieval version of The Office, because we have office shenanigans, we have HR, we have the big boss, and it is very cute, very fun, very lighthearted. If you want something fun and lighthearted, especially fantasy, I feel fantasies like Akatar, The Serpent and Wings of Night, Quicksilver, they're all very serious and dark, and you really need to pay attention of what's going on. This is very fun, easy, and light. If you're looking for something light, a fantasy that's light and fun with minimal to no spikes, there's like maybe one fade to black scene in the whole series, and it's in book 3. You should really pick up the series. I also rated this 5 stars. Like, every book in the series, 5 stars. Go read it. After The Accomplice to the Villain, I read a Penelope Barsetti series. Now, if you know me, you know I love Penelope Sky, I love Penelope Barsetti. And I can't believe I haven't read the series yet until today, well, until this month. And that is the Death series by Penelope Barsetti. The first book in the series, The Death King, follows our female main character. She's kind of slaving away in a black diamond mine. And then we have our male main character, the Death King, who is on a quest for vengeance. He rides a big ass dragon and he is looking for black diamonds. Now, the rule for mining these diamonds is if you find one, you get freedom. Now, our female main character, she finally finds one, and the general station there's like, bitch, I'm not letting you go, I'm obsessed with you, in a very weird, creepy vibe. And she's like, what the fuck, bro? And then the Death King kind of lands there with his dragon, and she's like, I need to steal this guy's dragon so that I can be free. Then she learns, holy shit, I can talk to dragons. And the Death King is like, yeah, you're coming with me. So that's kind of the whole premise of the story. And she's again entrapped and enslaved by the Death King. And she learns about him and his quest for vengeance, and she decides if she wants to join or not. This book series is like 8 to 9 books long, so it will keep you fed and satiated for a long time. The first few books in the series follows a certain set of character, and then a few books at the end of the series, like the last few books, follow their children and their story. So it's kind of like this generational thing. So we like jump 20 years into the future at the end of the series, and it keeps things fresh, it keeps things entertaining, and it was really good. I rated this book series a 4.5 star overall, and I really think you should read these books if you're looking for a dark romantasy series. I think all of the books in Penelope Barsetti's universe are connected, so we see some characters from other books, which was very fun, and I think you should read it. After that, I was really in a romantasy mood, so I picked up How Does It Feel by Gina Riley. This started out really good. So the premise of this book, or this whole series, is that our female main character, Callie, she's this scientist who studies these moths, and these moths are kind of going extinct, so she travels and she moves around a lot, and she settles in this small town, and she's studying these moths, and she then accidentally forgets her microscope, this fancy microscope, in the forest, and she's like, shit, I need to go get my microscope. So she heads back to the forest, and she kind of falls down, Alice in Wonderland style, into a fairy circle, and she ends up in the Unseelie court. And whilst falling, she kind of falls on top of the Unseelie prince. Mendax, I think was his name. Malum Mendax. Let's just call him Malum. She falls on top of the Unseelie prince, and he's like, oh, so you're definitely a human assassin sent to kill me. Jail. So she kind of gets sent to prison, where she kind of sits and rot a bit, and she just doesn't die. And the prince is like, what the fuck is going on? Why don't you die? every time I send someone to kill you, you don't die. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put you through 3 trials. If you survive them, you are free to go. And these trials, she obviously faces, conquers, and throughout these trials, she kind of entraps or enamors. Is that the right word? I don't know. She enamors the prince and he falls in love with her, and she kind of develops feelings for him. Now, in principle, this sounds very good, very great, and that's why I said it started off really strong. But this book was like, what, 300 pages too short, and it was very insta-lovey. Like, how do you fall in love with the assassin who you are convinced is an assassin sent to kill you almost immediately? And that's kind of where the author lost me. I feel if this was a few hundred pages longer with a slower burn, this could have been better. And I rated this book 2 stars. It wasn't my favorite. It was very insta-lovey, insta-lusty, and it just felt really rushed. Like 3/4 in, I was like, girl, come on. And I don't want to pick up the rest of the series. I think there's 4 books in the series. I don't want to read the rest of them because the first impression wasn't that great. The last book I read in July was A Secret in the Garden by the same author of the previous one, Gina Riley. This was on my TBR for a while, and I was like, why the fuck no? Now, I will say I rated this book 3 stars, so Gina Riley kind of redeemed herself a little bit. If you like The Haunting of Hill House, this is very similar to that, and I feel our author took a lot of inspiration from that TV show. And yes, A Haunting of Hill House is very fucking good. I love that show. And this book was kind of good. I feel it fell victim to the same problem she had with the How Does It Feel? Like, she was rushing. Like, girl, slow down. So, A Secret in the Garden is about this botanist. She's a botanist, our female main character is a botanist, and she is gonna lose her job if she doesn't get a donation as quickly as possible. So she heads up this large and tall mountain, and on this mountain is a beautiful, beautiful manor, and the man who lives there is rumored to have killed and murdered his parents by pushing them off a cliff. So everyone in town is kind of afraid of him, and they all kind of talk shit about him behind his back, and he doesn't care. He's a recluse, he's broody, he's mean. And she heads up there, she's like, hey, so can I have some money and can I fix the garden that you have? And of course he's broody, he's mean, he's like, bitch, no. So she kind of, how do I say? Carves him down bit by bit, and he agrees to only let her fix the garden, and he will donate to the conservation garden or park she works at to save her job. But the condition is only she could work on the garden, no extra help from contractors or nothing, and she has to stay on the premises. Now, the first night she stays on the premises, she encounters a ghost. Scary, she encounters a ghost, and she thinks this ghost is our male main character's mother. His dead mother is floating around in this room, and she thinks this ghost, the dead woman's ghost, is wanting her help to prove that her son murdered her. So it's kind of all over the place. There were some elements that I liked. I mean, some spooky elements I like. I like some of the interactions between the male main character and the female main character. But guys, this was again very rushed. It was like this man was mean, broody, a recluse, doesn't want anything to do with our female main character. Like for one page, next page, obsessed with her. Jean O'Reilly, please, please, we can wait a few hundred pages for them to fall in love. That's fine. Because I love slow burn and this feels so unrealistic. Like, it starts off so good, but you lose me. You lose me, you're losing me. So, I rated this book 3 stars. Like I said, it was a bit better. It was, again, a gothic tale. Like I said, it was very Haunting of Hill House inspired and that type of vibe. And it was fine. It was not my favorite of the month. And it was not my least favorite of the month. Okay? And those were all the books I read in July. Wow, it goes by so fast. I will honorably mention The Ritual by Chantal Tessier, which I did try to read. And it ended horribly because it was a huge dumpster fire and one of the worst things I have ever fucking read in my life. This was sold as a dark college romance and it was just a heaping pile of shit, and I don't think you should read it because it was terrible and cringy, and not the good cringe, the bad cringe. And then another honorable mention, Butcher and Blackbird, which I was debating about mentioning on here because I don't think I went into it with the right mood and mindset. I didn't want to read it, and maybe in the future I will pick it up again. But I also didn't really like it. It was repetitive and boring, and I didn't care about the characters at all. So, yes. That is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. Kiss for you. Kiss for you. If you liked the video, don't forget to like the video. Hit the little thumbs up button right there. Hit it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like seeing my face. Then you can see more of it if you subscribe to the channel, completely free. Don't forget to follow me on social media. I post a bunch of stuff on there as well. TikTok, Instagram, I'm usually posting on there as well. And then check out the Substack as well. I write a bunch of book reviews. Some of these books I've mentioned today have some very in-depth reviews. I will also be publishing my reading wrap-up with other thoughts and other feelings also on the Substack. And then again, thank you for watching. I'll see you next week, or I'll see you when I see you. Bye bye.